Welcome to the Fit Mum in 20 podcast. I'm your host, Cassie.theSuperMUM. I'm a personal trainer, mum, and two-time business owner, and this is your go-to podcast for all things fat loss for busy mums. We're going to dive deep into all things health, mindset, and mum life. The purpose of this podcast is to take you out of overwhelm and have you showing up for yourself even when mum life feels hard as fuck. I know you're busy, so these bite-sized episodes will be 20 minutes or less so you can quickly get access to the tools and practical strategies you need in order to tone up and tighten your mum tongue. I know you're in exactly the right place to stop with just barely surviving the daily mum grind and instead start absolutely thriving in it, knowing that when you thrive, your kids and family do too. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Fit Mum in 20 podcast. At the time that I'm recording this, a lot has been going on. Like a lot. So today I want to talk about a topic that probably doesn't come up in the fitness world enough, but I'm realizing more and more through my own experiences, interactions with people, and my self-reflections that there needs to be a bigger conversation around this, especially because mums make up such a big portion of the fitness target audience. So you might have seen me touch on this recently on my social media, but I really felt this deserved a deeper dive. If you're new here, in January 2024, so last year, I became a single mum, and now about 12 months later, my daughter's dad is living with his fairly new partner and her daughter. And recently, my 3-year-old daughter, Kenzie, has started calling her dad's partner mum. Now, everyone around her, her dad, his partner's daughter, they all keep telling her that she is not allowed to do that. Her dad has told her that she has one mum and one dad, and she has a stepmum. And then his partner's daughter, who is actually very young herself, doesn't like it when Kenzie calls her mum mum. That sounds funny. He keeps telling her she's not your mum, she's your stepmum. From all sides. I see a few perspectives here. So his partner's daughter, as I said, is quite young and processing her own feelings about sharing her mum. And I know that Kenzie's dad is probably also thinking about how he would really not like it if she was calling another man dad. And I get that completely. But my perspective on all of this is that Kenzie is only 3. She is confused. She is trying to figure out a lot. She has had a lot of changes, and really 12 months isn't that much time. So she hasn't had that much time to adjust to it at all. Talking about this with some other mums recently, some of which are also single mums and some which aren't, their reactions were all very similar, and the reactions got me thinking because they kept saying how good I was being about it, that they couldn't imagine handling it the same way. And I get it. Hearing your child call someone else mum is not an easy thing to hear. I won't lie, it stings when I hear her refer to another woman as mum. My heart hurt so much more when I heard someone questioning her, and it wasn't nasty questioning. It was just a bit of confusion because it sounded like I had been hanging out with her dad because of her referring to this woman as her mum. And she got very upset. She freaked out. She started yelling. She was screaming, actually, she's not my mummy. She's not my mummy. And she was twisting and fiddling with her hands, and she was in panic. Total panic. Got me thinking about the choices we make as mums and how we decide what is best for our kids. And I'm finding it quite fascinating, the more I look at it and think about it, that we are willing to run ourselves into the ground, to skip meals, to sacrifice sleep, to put ourselves last in every way, because that is what society says good mums do. But when it comes to something that actually benefits our child, but challenges our ego a bit, like, for instance, me being okay with my child loving another parental figure when really mum is just a word, suddenly that sacrifice feels really impossible. It's huge. Society has created these standards of motherhood that we're all trying to live up to. We're supposed to be making everything from scratch, keeping a perfect house, working, staying fit, being eternally patient. Meanwhile, we're running around keeping track of absolutely everything. We know where hubby left his car keys. We know where little Johnny's soccer shoes are, even if one is in the car and for whatever reason there's one hanging in the tree in the backyard. And what I see on social media over and over again is this celebration of mum sacrifice. There's, all these quotes and reels and things that are like, keep going, mama, even when you have nothing left to give, you find a way to pour from the empty cup because that's just what we do. And it is true. I see mums doing it all the time. I've done it myself. And there was a time when I first became a single mum where someone said to me, I don't know how you do it. And I said, well, You just figure it out. It doesn't matter what it is. You just figure that shit out and you just get it done. And I think that's true for all mums, not just single mums. And I understand these messages that they're trying to help mums feel less alone, to validate how hard all of this really is. But I wonder often if this celebration of running ourselves into the ground is actually serving us or our kids in the long run. When we are depleted like this, everything becomes harder. Small problems feel overwhelming. We snap at our kids over tiny things because we have no emotional reserves left. We are modeling anxiety and stress as normal states of being. And what are our kids actually seeing in those moments? Are they seeing a mum who knows her worth, who has a healthy relationship with food and her body, who can set healthy boundaries? They're seeing someone who is never fully present, who is irritable, who yells a lot, who fat shames herself and treats exercise as a punishment. Something I say all the time is that habits are caught and not taught, because it does not matter how many times we tell our kids to do something that's good for them. They're going to do what they see us doing consistently. They're going to speak the way they hear us speaking. When we run off cold coffee and leftover nuggets while making sure that they get 3 meals and countless snacks a day, what are we teaching them? We create these amazing bedtime routines for them, and then we stay up doom scrolling ourselves. What message does that send? And this is where I think society has got it completely wrong. Bending over backwards to meet all of these crazy expectations does not make you a good mum at all. In fact, I actually think it makes you a subpar mum at best. Cannot give your child what's actually good for them if you're not able to function well yourself. You can't make decisions that are in your child's best interests when you're running on empty. And I want to say here too, if you are hearing that and feeling like I'm attacking you, I'm not. I know you're doing your best. I know that you are just trying to do what you've been told is the right thing for your child. But I often wonder whether that's the right thing, and I want to have a conversation about it. I don't want anyone to feel like their best isn't good enough. That's not what I'm saying. That I use a lot is the best version of your kid's mum. And what I mean by that is the version of you that is able to show up in ways that your children need, because every child is different, and what, Sally down the road does with her kids might not actually work for you and your kids, nor may it be beneficial for your child. Been lots of thought to what is required to give my child, my Kenzie, the best version of her mum. And for me, the best version of her mum is the mum that makes sure that Kenzie knows she is loved unconditionally, the one that can hold space for her to learn to regulate her emotions, and the one that can model regulating emotions. And admittedly, this is still something that is a work in progress for me. I want to teach her what self-love is and how to do it, what self-worth looks like and how to have it, what self-respect is and how to respect herself and assert herself while still being respectful of other people. I want her to know that it's okay to have boundaries with absolutely anyone, even me, even her dad, and that boundaries are in place to protect relationships, not to hurt them. And I want her to know how to effectively hold those boundaries, to understand that it is up to her to hold them, even when other people don't always follow them. I also want her to know how to accept other people's boundaries and not let people's boundaries impact on her self-worth or anything like that. Of that, it's a long list. It's a lot of responsibility. And I know I won't do any of this exactly right or anywhere close to perfect. And I don't expect to. And I hope that when Kenzie is older, I will have done at least a good enough job that she will be able to see and understand all that I've done and why I've done it. I mean, there's times where Kenzie has told me and even screamed at me that she wants her dad because he's fun and I'm mean and I'm not her best friend. Her dad's her best friend, yada, yada. Shit is hard to hear, but I tell her that it's okay, that dad probably is more fun than me. And while I'm not boring by any means, I think we have quite a lot of fun together when she's not trying to destroy my soul. But in comparison to him, I am mean and boring. And I tell her it's because a mum is serious business and it is my job to keep her safe and well cared for. It is not my job to make her happy. It is my job to teach her how to create her own happiness, because one day she is going to have to do this shit herself and she needs to know how. Teaching her all of this, how to regulate her emotions, create her own happiness, set boundaries, it is not just telling her. It is about showing her every decision I make as her mum needs to align with these bigger picture goals, even when those decisions feel hard or go against what society tells us good mums should do. Sometimes those decisions do go against everything society tells us we should do as mums. Sometimes it means letting go of what other people think is right, or even just what is the done thing, or what we've been conditioned to believe makes a good mum. Like being okay with my daughter calling another woman mum, because forcing her not to would cause more harm for her than it would protect my ego. Choosing to hold firm boundaries around my self-care time because showing her what self-respect looks like is more important than meeting society's expectation of constant maternal sacrifice. These small changes do add up. Maybe it starts with taking 5 minutes to eat your lunch. Then maybe you start saying, I need to move my body because it makes me feel good instead of because I ate too much. You stop apologizing for taking the time to have a shower, or you let the dishes wait while you do something that fills your cup. The point is not to suddenly transform into some perfect example of self-care and boundaries. It's about making small, consistent choices that show our kids what healthy motherhood actually looks like. When we take care of ourselves, not perfectly, but consistently, we are teaching them something extremely powerful, in my opinion. We are showing them that becoming a mum doesn't mean becoming a martyr, that taking care of yourself is not selfish, it's necessary. Everyone talks about breaking generational cycles, and this is just another cycle that we need to break. I personally don't want my child thinking that her options for adulthood are to either become a mum and be a stressed out mess who seems really resentful of being a mum, or not be a mum at all. I want her to know that being a mum is something that I really love being, that loving her is something that I find really easy to do. At least, is to make sure that she has an easier time of adulthood than I did. And that means being extremely intentional about what I choose to hold on to and what I choose to let go of. Sometimes the things we need to let go of are really obvious, like running ourselves into the ground or skipping meals. But sometimes they're going to be harder, like letting go of our ego when our kids call someone else mum, or letting go of society's expectations that good mums always put themselves last. My favorite sayings is that you have to be the change that you want to see in the world, which is basically saying if you want something to change, you have to do something about it and not just talk about it. And maybe that change starts with asking ourselves some hard questions about what we're holding on to that isn't serving us or our kids. Maybe it's time to look at all of those shoulds that we've collected as mums and ask ourselves, is this making me a better mum for my kid? Helping me show up as the best version of my kid's mum? Something for you to think about. What rules or standards or mindsets have you been holding on to that might be holding you back? When it comes to sacrificing things for your kids, it is not about giving up or giving in. It's about choosing what to sacrifice with intention. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do as mums is let go of what we think we're supposed to do and choose what actually works for our family, even if that means going against the grain of what society says makes a good mum. I hope that this little discussion has proven to be useful to you in some way. Sometimes a bit of fresh perspective can be all we need to unlock a part of us that we have been keeping a lid on out of fear or something like that. And if nothing else, I hope that this has at least given you permission to change the way you do things, to break some of the rules of motherhood and not worry so much about what society dictates or expects of us, and just feel confident in being the type of mum your kids need moving forward. Because as with everything else, you know what your kids need. Are you ready to become the best version of your kid's mum? Applications for the SuperMUM method are now open. This is the program where we work through exactly this, creating sustainable habits and mindset shifts that work for your family. Check out the link in the show notes to book your breakthrough call, and let's chat about what this could look like for you.
Remember, you are capable of more than just surviving the daily mum grind. You're built to thrive in it. By showing up for yourself, you are setting the stage for your kids and family to flourish too. Keep moving forward with purpose, and I'll be back soon with more quickfire strategies to get you effortless results. Until next time, keep practicing consistency and embody the strength and love that makes you your kids' real-life superhero.